Can plants really beat diabetes? Plant-based diet, of course. The truth is, they can, but only if you avoid these 3 deadly mistakes.
So 37 years of science says yes, but get it wrong, you will spike your blood sugar faster than soda.
Faster than soda, come on, man, that's what's up. If you get it wrong, yes, your blood sugar can go up faster than you drinking soda. All right, so get ready to unlock the power of plant-based diet. Let's go right now. You talk about what is plant-based diet. We can't just start off without explaining what plant-based diet is. What do you think, honey?
Yes, so it's basically eating plant mainly. So there are different types of plant-based diet. So the first one is vegan. So vegan excludes all animal products. So it excludes meat, dairies, eggs, and honey, but it focuses mainly on plants like fruits, veggies, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds.
All right, so if you are vegan, it means that you cannot eat any animal product, to be short, right? But a vegetarian is also a plant-based diet eater, but they only exclude meat, but they include dairy products or milk and cheese. They also can eat eggs, and they also use honey. So some people are vegetarians because they are mostly eating plant-based foods, except that they can add milk, they can add cheese, they can add eggs, they can also use honey. So that's just the difference as far as those basic types are concerned.
Yes, so the vegan relies solely on plants. For their protein source, they do tofu and lentils, while vegetarians for their protein source depend on dairy and eggs.
All
so
right.
That's the main difference between the two.
So for a vegan, their protein source are still going to have to come from a plant source. But for a vegetarian, they can depend on other sources. So if you're a vegan, you may have to be eating a lot of beans, a lot of tofu, a lot of other plant-based sources of protein for vegans. The vegetarian may just be eating regular grains and still supplement their protein sources from eggs, and other stuff, which are animal-based, milk, cheese, and all those. All right. So, but there are some variations, right? It's not just vegan or vegetarian. There are some other slight changes.
So the first one is some diets that they call whole foods plant-based diets. So they are not strictly vegetarian and it's not strictly vegan. They depend wholly on whole foods, which is plant-based.
Yes,
so that's another kind of diet.
They don't use, the plant-based foods are not processed. Basically, whole foods, they are still based on plants, but they don't use processed plant sources. For example, if they're going to eat beans, they won't buy canned beans.
Okay.
Everything has to be fresh, whole. That's what that. So it's a slight variation from both, because a vegetarian can still eat, some processed grains, or a vegan may still eat some processed grains. Some, as long as it's plant-based, they may eat it even if it's processed. But a whole foods-based plant-based diet is vegetarian or vegan, but no processing. So they eat it full and whole from when it was harvested. And then there's another variation.
Another one is the flexitarian diet. So you can say that is a little flexible, right? Flexitarian.
From flexible, good.
Right. So that kind of diet is mostly plant, but occasionally they include meat and dairy, right? So animal products are limited. So within a week, they will eat 1 to 2 meals per week.
That is of animal sources, right?
Of animal source. So they are not strictly vegetarian or strictly vegan. So there is a little flexibility. So that is called flexitarian diet.
All right. So depending on your tolerance level, some people cannot do without meat or animal sources at all. They always need at least once a week or twice a week some kind of a milk product or some kind of a fish or something. So that person may be eating greens and plant sources, all right, but twice a week they do that kind of break for animal foods, and that is flexitarian. All right. The next one is what we call pescatarian. A pescatarian diet is also another variation of plant-based diet, and they focus on plants as well as fish or seafood. So those have actually those group of people, or that group of people has actually become more specific in terms of the animal products that they will eat. They will eat all plants, but then they will add fish or seafood to it, and that is something that is allowed to them. The only thing is they do not eat any other form of animal product or meat for that matter. So that is pescatarian.
Okay, so the fourth one is Mediterranean diets. So Mediterranean diets are focused mainly on plant foods, whole foods, olive oil, with moderate fish and dairy. Occasional fish and
milk products,
but they rarely do red meat.
They don't even, I haven't seen Mediterranean people eat red meat as much, but they can have red meat occasionally. So I think the main difference is that they have more milk products as well as fish, and a key ingredient is olive oil. So that is a new introduction to it. So that is what makes a Mediterranean diet also different. So you can tell that these are just variations of what we say plant-based diet, of from vegan or vegetarian, slight modifications, but still basically falling under the key term that we call plant-based diet. So now I think we can go to a different area now. We're going to go to the real meat of our show, which is to talk about the 5 science-based or science-backed benefits of the plant-based diet, especially for diabetics or for somebody who wants to, have a watchful eye on their blood sugars and, of course, other issues, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of them.
So with the diet, I think we went through different kinds. So just see where you can fit. Are you flexitarian? Is it Mediterranean? Or whatever kind of diet are you kind of leaning towards as we go through, so that you know where to bench or where to rely so much on. So the first benefit, science-backed benefits for doing plant-based diets is improved insulin sensitivity. So it's been known with the science and studies that has been done that high fiber plant foods like beans, leafy greens, whole grains, slow glucose absorption, and enhance cellular response to insulin. In other words, if you do more plant-based diet, it's likely that you increase your insulin sensitivity.
Insulin sensitivity, and this is, again, we say science-based, so sometimes we want to mention a study just to make sure that that we are not making these things up. Some studies have been done. These are all coming from studies. But one particular study is a 2018 study in the journal called Nutrients, which found 24% improvement in insulin sensitivity in the plant-based diet versus group that has no plant-based diet. So if you can see 24% increase in your insulin sensitivity when you are doing plant-based diet compared to somebody who is not doing plant-based diet. So there's evidence there. This is just one study. There's more evidence.
Yeah. So somebody who is not doing plant-based diets depend more on what?
Animals and processed foods, oils, and all those fats and stuff.
Starchy foods.
Starchy foods, yes.
Yeah. So if you are not doing plant-based diets, it's likely that you are doing other kind of diets that is not healthy as diabetic. So there is a study that supports the fact that if you do plant-based diets, your insulin become more sensitive. And the second one that we want to talk about is that the study shows that if you do plant-based diets, your A1C level lowers, it goes down. So plant-based diets rich in low glycemic foods, like non-starchy foods, veggies, legumes, reduce overall blood sugar over time. So doing that definitely lower your A1C.
Definitely. And again, there are more studies that support that. There's a journal, actually called the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology, which showed that people who are diabetics, who followed this kind of diet, or plant-based diet, improved their A1C levels from 0.1 all the way to 1%. And it may seem like it's nothing, but if your A1C is 7 and you reduce it by 1, you are assessed. And if you are assessed, you are not diabetic, technically. So it means that that's just diet. If this person adds exercise to it, if this person adds intermittent fasting to it, they can even reduce it further, before we even talk about medication. So this is very important that we actually consider plant-based diet in our diets. Now let's go to the third importance, the third benefit of plant-based diet, and it is that it leads to reduced heart and stroke problems, what we call cardiovascular disease risk. If you are doing plant-based diet, if you focus your meals on being either vegan or vegetarian or any of the variations that we mentioned, you're going to reduce your risk for heart attacks and your risk for strokes. That's exactly what we are trying to say here. And there are studies again that show that. You want to continue that?
Yeah, so diets emphasizing more on what? Nuts, seeds, whole grain definitely will lower your LDL, cholesterol. And blood pressure is also lowered, which is known overall that if you're diabetic, it's likely that your cholesterol is high, your blood pressure is high. So eating plant-based diet overall reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease.
And there, again, there are more studies, about 20 to 25% lower heart disease risk in diabetics who follow this. A study in 2019. It's actually a meta-analysis of several studies. And the answer that they gleaned from that was that people who follow plant-based diet are able to lower their heart disease risk by 20 to 25%. That's huge.
Wow.
That's huge, just by eating one kind of meal all the time. And before we go on, I think I had a question on YouTube that's asking about, let me just put it back again, Atkins diet. This person is saying, what do you think of the Atkins diet? I don't remember all the components of the Atkins diet, except to say, if I remember well, that I think it's more with chocolate and maybe animal food. If you can tell me more about it, it has faded out of popularity. It used to be very popular, but it looks like we don't talk about it anymore, and I don't remember exactly what is contained in it. So, Emma, if you are still on the live, you can give me the main staples of the Atkins diet, and we can answer the question better. So that's the question. What do you think about the Atkins diet? I don't remember the full components. It's fallen out of favor, compared to how popular it was before. So I didn't even look into that. All right. So if you have that, you can post it again, and we will be able to discuss, unless you remember anything about that.
I'm thinking, I may not be right, but I'm thinking it's more like meat-based. Like they do more of their protein.
That's what I was
thinking. They do more
too.
Protein-based instead of the plant-based. But a lot of studies have come out, and almost all the studies leaning towards plant-based diet, which has been proven to be more healthier than people doing Atkins diets.
The more people doing animal-based, if that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, but then that's also a giveaway for next week. We are going to talk about low-carb diet, and where in that one we will definitely mention animal sources as diet, because if you are not eating carbs, you probably are going to eat, fat and protein from animals. So that will come back up when we talk about it next week. But except to say that we are going to go forward and say naturally, the other thing is plant-based diet. This is the next benefit, is that it helps you maintain your weight. Plant-based diet helps maintain weight. So if you are struggling with weight, you are obese or you are even overweight and you want to lose the pounds without having to do a lot, then the first thing to do is to potentially use plant-based diet, either be it a vegan, the vegetarian, or any other variations, the flexitarian or the pescatarian or whatever it is. Yeah, so that will be an easy way to lose weight, even though it takes a while to do that, right?
Yeah. So plant-based diets naturally lower in calories and saturated fats, right? So this will promote gradual healthy weight loss. It's not instant, but the more that you do it, the more that it cuts down the calories because you are eating more of plants and more of leafy foods. Definitely the calories are reduced, and as time goes on, your weight will also go down.
All right. Definitely. And with that, we can also talk about maybe a study or maybe skip. We don't want to make it boring by mentioning studies, but we want to prove to you. That's why we say science-backed. We don't want you to think that we're just making it up. So if you have any arguments, just go and argue with a scientist that did the research, all right? And these are not just one, but we just pick one study for each one. And the study here that we talk about was a trial in 2016 in the BMJ where they found out that 2 times more weight loss was found in people who ate plant-based diet compared to people with conventional diet. So people eating their typical diet compared to people who are focused on plant-based, they lost two times the weight. So which is huge. Just eating good food but plant-based, becoming healthier in terms of your weight. And then let's go to the fifth point, the fifth benefit.
Yeah, so the fifth benefit is plant-based diets enhance gut microbes, right? So as you eat the plant-based diet, it has the polyphenols and it has the fiber, which will feed the gut bacteria. Feeding the gut bacteria, meaning the good bacteria, will help reduce inflammation, which is linked to insulin resistance.
Definitely. So the gut microbes are going to be better, healthier gut if you are on the plant-based diet. Because, to think about it, the gut is, the plant sources, the fiber that you eat, they are serving as prebiotics too. They are places where the bacteria can grow on. And so you get healthier in terms of your gut. And research have continued to say and prove that if you have a healthy gut, you have a healthy body. In fact, healthy mind, everything works out better if your gut is better. So you can beat plant-based diet in that regard, right? And again, research also backs this up. But I'm not going to go into the details of this research, just except to say that if you want to have healthy system, healthy body, make sure that you include or potentially choose a plant-based diet for yourself.
Yeah, instead of spending money on probiotics and all other. Probiotics are really good,
yes,
which help feed the gut bacteria, right? But if you eat plant-based diets, definitely you are feeding the good bacteria, and that would definitely help with inflammation, and it also reduce resistance to insulin.
Definitely. We got some comments on YouTube here. Somebody said name. Thanks, Jesus. Okay, we love that because we know Jesus is good. Now, somebody also has a question here. And he says, how healthy is fried chicken and grape sodas purchased with stumps?
Food stumps.
Oh, food stumps.
I always like
oh, my goodness. All right. I don't know if it's true, but as you can tell, fried chicken is not something we are going to promote right here. Whether it's purchased with your own money or with food stamps, it is not going to be a plant-based diet. And that tells us that it's not going to be good, especially because it's fried, right? Yeah. Even if the chicken was good, you have already introduced the fried, and that's already something that is bad. So we can just leave that right there. All right. Now we can shift to the negatives, because on our title we said that there are 5 science-based benefits of plant-based diet, right? But there are 3 hidden risks that may also, show up if you don't know what you're doing. And so we're going to talk about those 3 hidden risk that's associated with a completely plant-based diet, completely focused on plant-based diet, right? The first one, you want to start with that?
Yes, so unintended blood sugar spikes, right? So if you depend so much on high carb plant foods, though you want to eat plant-based diet, right? That's all that you want. But if you over rely on that high carb, it's likely that you are going to spike your blood sugar. If you eat more of sweetened vegan snacks, you want vegan, right? It's plant-based. That's what you're going for. But you forget to read the label and calculate the amount of sugar in there, because you think it's plant, so it's healthy. You may go for that, and that will definitely spike your sugar level. And also tropical fruits. The sweet fruits out there. We have the mangoes, we have the apples, we have all the sweet fruits around. So if you think that because you are doing plant-based and it's the healthy form of diet and you overdo it and you rely so much on it, definitely is going to change or spike your blood sugar, which is not healthy. It's one thing that you don't want to overdo. You want to pay attention. Though the sauce is good, you don't want to overdo it. And you don't want to get the sweetening and the sugar hidden in there to overtake what you're doing. So you have to pay attention to that for sure.
And the other thing, I think you mentioned the white rice, right?
Right.
The other thing is somebody may say, but rice is plant-based. Potatoes are plant-based. Cassava or yuca is plant-based. Yams are plant-based. So what are you talking about? If you're talking about plant-based, just talk about plant-based. Don't select some of the plants. Right?
That's why you want to do it right.
Yes. Right? This is why it could be wrong. If you can eat only plant sources and still get diabetes or still get your sugar up if you are not doing it smartly. The key is to make sure that your plant sources are not increasing your sugars. So we have something we call glycemic index. So the higher the glycemic index, it means that when you eat the food, it dumps sugar quickly into your bloodstream. Quickly. So you eat potatoes, and before you know, your blood is full of all the sugars in the potato. So we call it high glycemic index. But you have another source of food in the plant origin where you will eat maybe broccolis. And because, broccoli still has sugars, but then because of the amount of fiber in it, the sugars that will be released from the broccoli to your blood come slowly. And because of the slow release, your blood sugar levels are stable. So yes, they are all plants, but you got to be smart about what kind of plants. Basically, if it's a white, starchy plant, forget that it's plant-based. It is not your friend. Trust me. It is not your friend. And of course, Gifty has emphasized a lot already on the sugary part of the snacks for vegans. Because vegans think that, hey, I don't eat any animal source, so I'm good. But then they forget that their snacks are powered with so much sugar, and that is actually leading to bad outcomes. Right. So I think that is where we want to...
So with the tropical fruit, right?
Mangoes is one.
So because you are eating plant source base, it's a natural form of fruit. I'm just going to binge on it. If you are diabetic, you don't want to do too much of it. You have to pick the better one. I think last time we mentioned it, right? Instead of going for the sweet mangoes, you can go for the other fruits, healthy fruits, which you love so much. That's avocado, right? Avocado is known to be a fruit. So instead of going for the sugary one, you can go for the healthier one. So you have to be really smart about your choices. It can be plant-based, but it may not be something good for your sugars.
Definitely. So that's that. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one is nutrient deficiencies that's associated with some plant-based diet. It's more of that this one, the culprit is really the vegan diet. Even though some of the other ones may also have it, but if you are on a vegan diet, because you are completely avoiding all forms of animal sources such as cheese or milk, and meat, fish, and every kind of animal product, you may be lacking a potentially crucial vitamin or nutrients.
Right.
Some of which we have mentioned here before, called vitamin B12. We also mentioned iron, and then even omega-3 sometimes, if you don't intentionally include like chia seeds or in some of the almonds and some of the nuts and seeds that are, rich in omega-3s, you may be lacking in those. So you definitely have to watch out. So that's a negative of the vegan diet. You will have to supplement. You will have to have a source for your B12 because you are not eating red meat. Red meat will give you the iron, and you are not eating red meat. You are completely avoiding all animal sources. You may find iron in other products that are of animal sources, but you completely don't have it
in plants.
In plants.
Right.
In that case, you will have to do that. There are some foods in plants that may have iron, but if you are not intentional with it, plantains, right? They have iron, we say.
Right.
Yeah, but if you are not intentional, you may eventually lack these crucial nutrients, and that's what we are saying. It's a hidden risk.
Right. So if you're lacking these nutrients, it's likely that you feel tired all the time. You fatigue. And
especially the B12, right?
Yes, and neuropathic is very common in diabetics. So that will worsen if you lack these nutrients. So like you're saying,
your diabetic neuropathy.
Right. So you have to supplement. If you know you are going to go strictly vegan, no animal source, then this is something that you have to look into to supplement. You can get it over the counter and places that you don't go deficient on that.
Definitely. But as we always say, before you take anything, make sure you talk to your doctor first. All right. So let's move on to the third and harmful side of plant-based. You understand with that?
Yes. So that one you tend to depend so much on over-processed foods. Some people that are vegan tend to use more processed foods, which we discourage because processed foods have a lot of preservatives and high content of sodium, which will definitely spike your blood pressure, and it can also cause a lot of inflammation in your joint area. So you don't want to depend so much on processed foods. And sometimes the vegans are stuck with processed foods. So it's kind of something that you want to pay attention to. We have the benefits, all right, but these are dangerous parts that you have to take delight in knowing what kind, because like they use a substitute for meats. The vegan burgers, burgers. They use different kinds of cheeses that is not animal based. And a lot of salt. And a lot of salt. And this salt can really mess up your numbers if you're diabetic. So it's something that you have to pay attention to.
Definitely. That's very important to know, especially for those who are not really thinking about the processed part. That's why some people are doing whole foods plant-based, so that they will avoid the processing part of the plant-based diet. Because if you're not intentional about it, you're going to load up on some sodium. Your blood pressure is going to go up, and of course the inflammatory oils that are also used, the Fox cheeses and all those burgers may all eventually harm you. So that is only the bad part. That's the only bad part, I should say. If you're able to open your eyes to the labeling and all that, plant-based diet could be some of the best for you, as you have already heard us say. All right. So,
and I think there is a study, right? 2019 study shows that processed foods, people that are solely vegan and take a lot of processed foods have a higher risk, of being diabetic. They have 12% higher diabetes risk. Even they are vegetarians,
but because of the processing
of the processed foods, so you have to really pay attention. You think that you're doing all the right things, but if you are not informed, it's likely that you get yourself into trouble.
All right. So now let's talk about some of the things you could do. We have already said a few, but how can you get the best out of your plant-based diet if you're doing the plant-based diet? If we have convinced you enough to start focusing on plant-based diet, or including plants, at least the minimal we can ask, then how do you do it? We have already said some of them. And the first thing is prioritize, or make sure your focus, your attention is put on whole foods in plant-based. So if you are going to be eating of plant sources, make sure that they are whole and not processed. They have all the fibers. For example, say somebody will say that, well, I like my dumpling, I like my corn dough or whatever. If you are eating it processed because it's sent to the mill and it is ground into a powder, it's processed, so your body's going to pick it up so quick. Just like you are eating potato, which is also like mashed potato. It's potato, all right, it's plant-based, but the mashing and the butter added, making it so processed that it will increase your blood sugar level. So if you are going to open your eyes and be comprehensive in terms of making sure that the food you are eating is not processed and it's of plant source, then you can take it to the bank. You're going to definitely be healthier. It doesn't matter if you have diabetes or if you don't, you are going to be healthier overall, because the processing is what is killing a lot of people. That's what's bringing a lot of diseases, including heart disease, cancers, hypertension, and of course, diabetes, which we are focusing on today. All right, so that's the first thing.
Yeah, so like you're saying, the fiber in the whole food definitely slow glucose absorption, right? And that will improve your insulin sensitivity.
Definitely.
So that's what we are going for. You are eating foods that will help your insulin to act on your food that you're eating. We don't want whatever you are eating to make your insulin insensitive.
Even worse, yeah.
Right. So try and find foods, and we are encouraging whole foods, plant-based whole foods.
So you aim for at least 30 to 40 grams of fiber daily. Example, 1 cup of lentils or 1 cup of broccoli, include in your diet. And those things have some of the highest amount of fiber that we can talk about.
And some whole foods like whole grains like quinoa. And oats.
Oatmeal, right?
Okay.
Steel cut oatmeal.
Over refined carbohydrates like the white rice and the pastures that we are discouraging. You reach out for the whole grains, instead of the refined carbs.
So you can use the quinoa in place of white rice, right?
I tried it last time.
Pasta.
The quinoa, I don't know. How did you like it?
I think I would say 50-50. It's 50-50. I mean, you got to eat it more often
to get used to
it. And I don't want to make it sound like it's the same as rice. No, it's not. But obviously, it will take practice. And if you are focused on it, on a goal like diabetes, then you should. That way you can get the benefits. And that's what I think it is. So let's go to the second one.
Yes. So the second one is, aside the whole foods, you want to focus on low glycemic load meal. I think you mentioned that, there are different forms of foods out there.
Plant foods.
You want to focus on the low glycemic one, meaning that the one that when you eat, it doesn't get dumped into your system right away. It's able to go slowly to prevent blood sugar spikes. So those are the foods that you are going for. Example of such foods were instead of going for sugary plant foods,
you can do
just
some proteins
without it at all.
Yeah,
you don't go for sugar at all.
Oh yeah, sugar no.
So we have plant foods like the dates and the mangoes.
You have to throw them out.
You want to avoid such foods, though they are plant-based. It's not a refined form of sugar, all right, but it's something that you want to avoid because that can spike your blood sugar. That's
very bad. The dates are so sugary, and people think that because it's plant-based, I don't eat sugar, I use dates. I'm good because it's plant source. You're still getting some fructose right there. It's still going to be converted to glucose when you eat it. So the key, as you said, low glycemic indexes, foods that do not dump sugar straight into your blood, but release your sugar slowly, So for instead of using date, you could use an apple, a Granny Smith apple, a green apple, and something like an apple and an almond butter, pretty good. You're still going to have some sweet tongue. You're still going to taste the sweetness, but the sugars are not going to dump into your bloodstream quickly. so that you protect yourself from high blood glucose levels. So that's an example.
Yeah, so like another example is chickpea salad over white rice with tofu. You know, so you can see that the chickpea, which is legume, right, is slowly released into your system that has a low glycemic index as compared to white rice, which has a high glycemic index and that can spike your blood.
Even though you are eating a white rice with tofu, which is good,
right?
But because of the white rice being high glycemic index, or because it releases the sugar quickly into your bloodstream, you are not doing the best. So you're making, I'm eating tofu, I got good source of protein, I'm not eating meat. But yet your rice is killing you.
Right.
So that is a very great example. And any other examples?
No, I think we can continue with that third one, right?
So the third one, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you want to do healthy fats. You know, you just want to reach out for the healthy fats and optimize protein. You know, you don't want to, just because you're doing plants, you just want to reach out for the healthy part of the plant, not anything at all. Why? Because balanced blood sugar always reduces cravings, right? So you reach out for the healthy ones, not the unhealthy oils and fats.
So let's give some of the examples of healthy fats. I already mentioned some, as the Mediterraneans do. You got olive oil, you know, the better one or the best ones, extra virgin olive oil. You know, use that for your cooking, use that for your eggs, use that for your salads. Those are healthy fats. And another fat that I enjoy is also avocado fats, avocado oils, you know, eating the avocado itself, you know, using avocado instead of a butter or margarine on your toast. You know, that is something that's going to definitely be better for you, right? It's got the rich, natural sources of fats. And when you eat those, you don't get hungry. As a matter of fact, today, that's all I've had. And I haven't had dinner. I don't feel hungry because I had 3/4 of an avocado on a nice toast with my black coffee. Come on, man, I'm doing good, right? Right? Yeah. And it's 8 p.m. and I'm not hungry. It's actually 9 p.m. where we are and I'm not hungry. But if I had had a well-known food in my culture, which is called fufu, trust me, I would have been already hungry. Because all the starch would change into glucose into your blood and your body is done. Because it's so processed that your body takes care of it too quick. But the fibers in your avocado and the oils of all those we've mentioned will definitely slow glucose release and make you feel full for longer periods so that you don't reach out for snacks and also increase your blood sugar levels. All right. And the other thing is proteins. Reach out for some healthy proteins. I mean, tofu is good, but if you can get 1 to 2 servings of proteins per meal, that is also good. I mean, tofu, tempeh, and lentils are common ones, which are all plant sources, by the way. And for those who are vegetarians, remember that vegetarians can eat eggs.
Right.
So if you add eggs, and actually I added eggs, so I think I'm a vegetarian.
You are a vegetarian.
Come on, man.
You didn't add milk.
No.
Right.
No. I mean, I could have, but I don't use milk anymore for what we have been teaching. I feel like I don't need milk for my coffee or sugar for that matter, right? But I could have, if I'm strictly vegetarian, I could have. But at least I use my protein source, which is egg, right? And that's good.
Another source is the lentils, right? So you can eat more lentils, which is a healthy one. That is a good source of protein.
Right. And apart from the avocados, the fats, you can also use some nuts.
Right.
You know, when you eat nuts, whether they are fried nuts or, you know, dried nuts or however nuts, or even chia.
Right.
You know, all those have some, and chia seeds and some other seeds, they have healthy oils that you can take on and you don't get hungry as often, you know. So that's another one right there. And I think that would be the last one, right?
Yeah, so I think the fourth one is to avoid, we mentioned that already, ultra-processed foods. You know, the fake meats and the cheeses often spike your glucose and cause inflammation. So that's one thing that you want to avoid. Though you are vegan or you are vegetarian, you have to make sure that you don't do the fake meats because of the its content, what's in there. So you can swap vegan burgers for lentil patties. You know, the patties, the one that they make it in the round form. If instead of that fake burgers, you can do the lentil patties, which is healthier and it's a better source of protein for you. And also you can replace soy-based ice cream with chia pudding. I think last time we talked about the chia pudding, right? So chia seeds plus unsweetened almond milk. You put it together, you put it in the fridge for few hours or maybe 30 minutes to an hour. You shake it together, you add your fruits and your almonds in, and it's a whole good meal that can hold you over for a long period of time.
That was really good. That was really good when you did it. I don't like the texture of the seeds.
Chia seeds.
Yeah, as much.
I like it.
I would rather blend it to make it a little smoother, you know. And for those of you who know porridge, it actually looks like porridge, thick porridge, right?
Right.
And of course, there's no sugar added. So if you are looking for your cocoa with sugar, sorry to disappoint you. But it is really healthy. And you added, what are some of the fruits? The berries, strawberries.
Strawberry,
blueberries,
raspberries, and a lot of nuts mixed with it. And it will take you throughout the day without feeling hungry.
Definitely. So those are, innovative ways to make you feel better, feel fuller, and also be healthier at the end. So 2023 study in JAMA found that 67% of packaged vegan foods exceeded, the recommended sodium and sugar limits. Just imagine, 67%. So basically, processed foods, forget it. If you are eating processed foods because, it is plant-based, you are missing the mark. We are wasting your time. Because if you really want the full benefit, buy them whole. Find a whole food store in your area or your supermarket. When you go, look for the fresh ones that nobody has touched. Come and clean it and use it yourself. That's when you get the most out of your plant-based diet. And I think those 4 points are sufficient enough for you to start off with your new plant-based diet that we think you should be using to avoid diabetes, to avoid hypertension, to avoid all those other problems that people are having, stroke and all the rest, especially blood sugar also.
So you were talking about the study. I thought only the sodium. I never knew that the sugar is also excess in vegan processed foods. So you would think that you were doing the right thing, but you should definitely read labels and to see all the hidden foods in the processed foods that you buy.
Definitely. All right.
Yeah, so don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Next week, we are exposing the truth about low-carb diets.
Oh, come on, man. We're exposing the truth about low-carb diets. Today, we expose the benefits of plant-based diet. Next week, we are going to talk about low-carb diets. And then potentially the week after, we're going to compare the two and see which one is best for you to avoid diabetes, hypertension, stroke, heart disease, and all those things that work and go hand in hand. All right, so we say thank you for joining. Again, click the share button if you haven't. Click the follow if you're on TikTok. And thanks for the hearts that we are seeing. We appreciate them so much.
And the thumbs up.
And those who those who send questions also on YouTube. Thank you, Emmett. We still didn't get the details, but I think your question may have been answered. And we also thank my own big brother, Kwasi Ampo, for saying thank you so much, Doc. Thank you for watching. And we want to see you next week with your questions. And don't forget to check our website. We have, as a matter of fact, I should have shown you, we have a beautiful shop that we have created with some diabetic and other stuff that you can wear. Should have brought some. A cup or you drink a coffee from, that is burnt sugar. Burnt sugar. Or there's a bunch of them. I don't think I can show them today.
Yeah.
But next week I'll show you. Just go to droteng.com. Just one word, droteng.com. And you're going to have a peek at all those things. Mouse pads, a huge stack that you can use to remind you of what you should be doing and remind others if they forget. So that, I mean, if your wife is still challenging you to drink your coffee with milk or with cream and sugar, we have a mark on there that says drink it black. Drink it black. So you show them, honey, I gotta drink this black. Or show it to yourself when you are tempted. Come on, man, drink it black. So go to droteng.com and visit our shop and find out some of the cool stuff that we are sharing with you. And when you do that, you're also supporting our channel. And our website is also oteng.live. But I need you to check our shop, because I'm really happy with some of the products that we come up with. And I believe that it's going to help you stay true to the things that we have all agreed. We are in agreement here, that we are going to live better. Little by little, we're going to do much better every day, and teach our kids to follow same. All right. So with that being said, we say thank you for watching, and we say, beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for watching again.
Thank you.